Welcome back to Stab the Dragon for episode number 72, Whiskey Review 43 on Monday, September 19, 2022. Since August of 2021, I've been reviewing whiskeys from North Texas, along with a few others here and there. Today's whiskey is from Leadslingers, coming out of the Scissortail Distillery in Moore, Oklahoma. Not exactly Texas, but close enough. This will be the third whiskey from Leadslingers that I have reviewed. I've looked at the rye whiskey, Leadslingers Rye. That was a very good whiskey. Really liked it. Um, their single malt, Leadslingers American single malt whiskey, Minuteman whiskey, and that one was just a tad weak. It was lacking in a lot of ways. It had a nice little cinnamon punch at the back end, but otherwise it was really kind of young. It was too thin. It was lacking. Um, Moore, Oklahoma is, I grew up, a lot of my time growing up was in Oklahoma. I went to school at OU, so I'm just down the street from Moore, Oklahoma. Um, I'll be treating this whiskey in the upcoming whiskey tournament in 2023. I'll be doing all three of these Leadslingers whiskeys as part of that Texas whiskey tournament. You know, sometimes I joke and say Oklahoma is the largest county in Texas, but whatever. So let's dive into the Scissortail product now. Leadslingers whiskey is the creation of Matt Best, the author of this book. Matt Best, thank you for my service. He is a Army Ranger veteran, and he and 6 other of his special operator friends, Special Forces, Green Berets, Rangers, Air Force Tactical Air Controllers, a bunch of airborne guys. You know, they got together and they started this whiskey company. They started Article 15 Clothing. They started Black Rifle Coffee. Now, this distillery also started with Garrett Janko is the owner of the distillery. He started that Scissortail Distillery in 2013. This whiskey is 40 ABV. It's a bourbon. It's in a 750 milliliter bottle. It is no age statement. I purchased this in August of 2022 for about $32, $33 at Specs. I gave this whiskey a score of 68. My letter grade is a C+. I'm somewhat disappointed in this product. It has potential. There is nothing offensive here. It's just plain too low of proof, too young, and consequently too low on flavor for the price. I really love that Leadslinger rye whiskey and will always keep that on hand, but this bourbon, probably not. On the bright side, if you're just starting out on your bourbon journey, this is a mild, inoffensive whiskey that may be a good starter. If you do shots, which I don't recommend, this would probably be a great whiskey for that. Because really, I got no burn off of this thing at all. I mean, this is as mild as it gets. So now let's get into the details. History. Leadslingers Thin Blue Line Bourbon. That's what this is, Thin Blue Line. Coming out of Moore, Oklahoma, Scissortail Distillery, but there's more to the story. This is, like I said, the brainchild of Article 15 Clothing and Black Rifle Coffee, founded by veterans with Matt Best kind of heading them up. And they teamed up with Scissortail in 2013 to start a line of spirits, which includes their bourbon. Now, the bourbon's got 2 different bottles, and I think it's the same stuff, even though this Thin Blue Line costs $3 or $4 more than their regular bourbon. Their regular bourbon is just Leadslingers bourbon whiskey is all it is, and instead of the blue, it's got a little bit of red. It's a white and red, you know, so it doesn't have the Thin Blue Line. There you go. So that's their normal bourbon. I don't think there's a difference in the two. Everything I've researched seems to indicate that these are the exact same whiskey, just in different bottles with different names. And why Thin Blue Line is more expensive, I haven't been able to determine. So I have seen their bourbon reviewed by Rex and Daniel on the Whiskey Vault on YouTube. And since I lean towards rye whiskey a bit, more. That's the review that I saw, is that they reviewed the rye whiskey, and they gave it a favorable review. So, you know, the rye is pretty good. I've not seen any other reviews on this one, on the Leadslinger. Well, actually, yeah, I did. I saw one review on the Thin Blue Line, and I've read one online. And that one was fascinating because all the reviews of this are several years old. And the review that I read online had a ton of comments in the comment section. So this guy's site must be pretty popular because he got a lot of comments. And the comments were weird because literally it was like half the people hated this. They said it had an offensive ethanol flavor and it was just awful. The other half generally liked it. But here's the weird thing. Some of those who liked it, who sampled it in a blind sample, and this was like 2 or 3, at least, I'm going to say at least 3 comments, said they thought it was Scotch. They thought it tasted like Scotch. And I've sampled it. I just don't see how, if you're a Scotch drinker, I don't see how you could mistake this for Scotch. I don't know. But whatever, to each his own. The Scissortail Distillery, they have put this out, but there's on their website, there's no age statement on the bottle or the website. And there for a while on the website, Thin Blue Line wasn't even mentioned. You know, I've been to the website a lot over the last couple of years, and there was a time this year, earlier this year, where there was no Thin Blue Line at all. And so I thought, well, they're discontinuing it. And so that's when I went out and bought this in August because, hey, this is going to go away. And at the time, I thought, well, this is a different whiskey than the regular bourbon. Well, then the website came back, and much improved, I might add. And the website says, the same quality product found in our traditional bourbon, but with a mission. They're talking about Thin Blue Line here. Thin Blue sales go to first responder and police charities around our great country. May we never forget the sacrifice these true patriots display daily, and may we never stop as Americans trying to repay the debt they're owed. So, according to what they say there on the website, and again, that's new. That happened in just the last 6 weeks. Okay, it's the same bourbon as in, you know, their other bottle, and yet it's $3 more. I don't get it. I don't understand that. So it's, to me, I'm interpreting this as saying that bourbons are identical, but the sales of Thin Blue Line whiskey give an extra amount to police charities. Now, all of Leadslinger stuff gives money to veteran charities, okay, but this one goes to police charities. So that's the history behind this bourbon. I wish I had more information about it, but that's all I could dig up. But I like the history there. I like the team that has gone into this. I love Oklahoma. You know, I've been growing up there, went to school there. So I'm going to say 5 points for history. Packaging, bottle. We've got the same rectangular bottle design for this whiskey as the other Leadslingers. I really like, if you can see the American flag there in the back of the bottle. That's on the inside. You know, there's the back, but it's on the inside that you got that American flag going on. So I really like how they did that. Man, where is it? There it is. Yeah. So I've always liked the Leadslingers bottles. I mean, the labels have cool military theme stuff going on. I mean, what you've got here is you've got an eagle, you've got the flag, and the eagle's carrying essentially a AR-15 style rifle. Okay, and then on the back, this is what it says. It's in blue ink, so it's hard to read. Leadslingers whiskey was founded in 2013 by 7 combat veterans when USAF, TAC PS, U.S. Army Rangers, Green Berets, and paratroopers combined their love for America and fine whiskey. LSW was born. Tired of people afraid to support the Second Amendment, the LSW team was focused on bringing a quality bourbon whiskey to freedom-loving, like-minded individuals. Stay frosty and freedom on. Hooah. So, being an Army veteran myself, I find Leadslingers, irresistible. I'm drawn to that. Some marketing, bottle packaging. Uh, I did see one advertisement video for this whiskey that was really pretty cool. It was entertaining, and I could tell Matt Best was involved with that because it looked like his other videos. If you've ever seen Matt Best on YouTube, look him up because his videos are a hoot. I mean, well done. He's a fascinating individual. So, yeah, I'm going to say 4 out of 5 for marketing, bottle, and packaging. Composition: a video from the distillery and a news interview that I saw online says that they use 90% Oklahoma grain in their stuff, and that's about all we have on this product. The website said, well, not the website, but it's labeled as bourbon. So the law states it must be 51% corn in the mash bill. It must be aged in virgin oak, charred, and the aging thing for bourbon can be 1 day. There's no age requirement because it does not say straight bourbon, nor does it say bottled in bond. So at least 1 day in virgin oak, charred. The look, smell, and taste of this whiskey is very young. I'd be surprised if it was over 6 months, probably not even. I just don't know because they don't tell you. So really, I don't know totally what's in here. 10 out of 15 points. Appearance. This is obviously a very young bourbon. The appearance is very weak. This looks like a blended Scotch, maybe, perhaps something like mellow corn. I mean, it's just a very pale yellow, very thin. 2 out of 5 for appearance. I tend to prefer darker whiskeys. I think they show something of their story if they're darker. Nose. The nose on this thing is very faint. I might get a little bit of honey sweetness, some light corn. I did not get any bad alcohol ethanol scent, like some of those comments that I saw from that website several years old. Maybe they fixed that. I don't know. I mean, there's nothing offensive here at all. So, but neither is there much to go on. And my nose is terrible. I don't have a good nose for anything. So 7 out of 10 is kind of my generic grade for noses because I got to give a little bit of grace accounting for my bad nose. So now let's go to taste. There's not much going on here. Nothing bad. There's no bad ethanol. Some honey. Corn, I can really taste the corn. Maybe some faint fruit like green apple, something like that. This is about as gentle of a bourbon as I've ever had. Again, those online interviews, there were so many negative comments about this. And I don't get that at all. I mean, there is nothing negative here. I'm not getting that. I get just a little bit of burn. Last night when I was preparing for this, I didn't even get any burn. Sometimes it's how you hold it in your mouth and how you swallow it. I like a little bit of burn in my whiskeys. In fact, I like a lot of burn. Okay, I mean, I grew up eating hot peppers, and so whiskey reminds me of that, I guess. But the burn is so minimal. I mean, this is as gentle of a whiskey as I've had. Absolutely. It does remind me of their American single malt and how gentle it is. Okay. So the comments on that one guy's website just really threw me because I get nothing offensive here, nothing negative. To me, this is a great starter bourbon, maybe. So the problem here is that the flavors are only hints of flavors. Okay, it's just not strong enough. This reminds me of Jim Beam White Label, not in flavor, but what Jim Beam White Label does is it teases you with some flavors, and it just doesn't follow through. It's too thin at 80 proof. It's just no, it teases you. That's all it is, and that's what this is doing. Is it gives me some sweetness, it gives me some corn, but that's about it, and it just teases me. So it's faint, it's weak, but again, nothing bad. So 19 points out of 25. Mouthfeel and finish, again, just like how it looks, it's thin, it's watery, very little burn. I'm getting just a little bit of a tingle in my mouth but as far as the flavors on the finish, nothing. There's nothing really that goes up in my sinus or down my throat, no chest tug, nothing. A little bit of a tingle. If you drink it just right, I can get something up in my sinuses. But very little. And again, I like the burn. For me, that's part of it. Okay, so if you want a very smooth whiskey, here you go. This is extremely smooth. But again, I think this is just aged less than 6 months. It's too youthful. It's too underproofed. So mouthfeel and finish, 7 points out of 15. Price, value, and availability. I got this at Specs for $32.60 or thereabouts, and Total Wine has it listed at $38.49. Goody Goody has it listed at $35.49. All of these are Fort Worth, August, September of 2022. I've not seen this anywhere else other than Specs. So it may be on their website, but I have not seen it at Goody Goody. I've not seen it at Total Wine. So again, that was part of my thinking process in August. I didn't see it on the website anymore, and it used to be. And then the only place I could see it was Specs. So I'm thinking, this is being phased out. And again, I was thinking, well, this is the same. This is a different bourbon than the regular bourbon. But all that has been proven wrong now. So price, value, and availability. Again, keep in mind, this is priced $2 or $3 more than the regular Leadslinger bourbon. And I don't know why. Everything says it's the same bourbon now. It's just a different bottle. So what's the difference? I don't know. Matt Best needs to let us know. But I think this is overpriced for what this is. Now, it is a craft whiskey, and usually I don't complain about the price of craft whiskeys. Small-time distilleries making a decent product that they need to make some money. But this is weak. This is almost lame. It's not offensive, but it's lame. And I think $32.60 for this is probably too much. So 6 out of 10 for availability because I've only seen it at Specs. Neat or mixer? I usually drink neat. Okay, I prefer neat. And this is okay neat. Again, nothing offensive. I think it would probably go well as a mixer if your goal is simply to get some alcohol in your system, because there's not enough flavor here. There's not enough strength here to come through in a cocktail. I think you do a cocktail, all you're going to taste is a cocktail. You're not going to taste this. This is just whiskey. That's all it is. If you want to do shots, yeah, this would probably be great for doing shots, but I don't recommend shots. I've never done that. I don't see the point in that. I mean, it's not me. So neater mixer, only 3 points out of 5. Bonus points. Despite the problems with this whiskey, I'm going to give it 5 bonus points. Because why? It's Leadslingers. It's from Oklahoma. It's a veteran-owned company. Matt Best is a hoot. If you ever follow Matt Best, the bottle is cool. There's nothing offensive in here. So bonus points, 5. Total score, 68. Letter grade, C+. Now, the reason my letter grades are always higher, letter grades go almost primarily off of flavor, and so again, the fact that this is highly drinkable, great for beginners, I think. It has nothing offensive. Yeah, C+. So my recommendation. Frankly, I'm disappointed in this whiskey. It clearly has potential. It's not offensive. It's from a team that I can respect, and it's from Oklahoma. It's got a very nice bottle and name. It's got great history. It's just plain underaged, too low of a proof. Now, of course, I can want somebody else to spend their money on getting this better, getting it right. Yeah, sure. I want somebody else to spend millions of dollars to increase their rick house so they can store barrels for, a whole year in Oklahoma with the climate they've got there. But that's not my call. But this whiskey's weak. It really is. If you're just getting into whiskey and you're a bit afraid of the harsh side of bourbon, which is why I like bourbon, this is probably a good starter whiskey for somebody. Absolutely. Now, if you're a veteran and you want a veteran-owned product, absolutely. Again, don't let this hinder you from getting this. There's nothing offensive here. This is a good drink. I think it's just too weak. It's too low on flavor. It's too expensive. Will I get this one again? Maybe. I think I'll always have Leadslingers on hand in my cabinet for sure. The rye is fantastic. And I might keep this one or get the other bourbon bottle, just because. Okay, but it's okay, but it needs to be improved. Will Matt Best do his best here? I don't know. Let me know. I'm now moving beyond North Texas whiskeys in my reviews, and I'll be going into Waco and Balcones Distillery starting next week. For the rest of the year, I'll be looking at other whiskeys in Texas, leading up to a whiskey tasting tournament in 2023. That's all for this edition of Stab the Dragon. Out here.